Was the Blues' second leading goal scorer en route to their Stanley Cup 2 years ago. But things have spiraled in the wrong direction since then. Now that he's made his trade demand, how do you see this playing out?
You know, one of the interesting things about this offseason is that there's a few players around the league that want out, and there aren't teams with a lot of cap room. So I don't know that there's a guarantee he will move. The one thing that's appealing to me with him is not only his talent, but the fact he only has 2 more years on his deal at a $7.5 million cap hit. Not a cheap cap hit, but in terms of term, that may not scare too many teams. So I think he'll move, but he's had shoulder issues, as you know, Gino, over the last couple of years, and that certainly will probably give some teams pause. I would also say that, you know, as my colleague, the Athletic, Jeremy Rutherford, first reported, yeah, he's asked for a trade. I kind of sense that maybe this is probably mutually beneficial that both teams kind of part ways. So again, it's the player that wants out, but I don't think it's the end of the world ultimately, depending on how this deal works out for the St. Louis Blues.
All right, free agency opens up in 3 weeks' time. The expansion draft goes in 2 weeks' time. And we're starting to see teams consider moving pending UFA's negotiation rights. Could the Panthers be looking to make a deal on that front?
Well, they're getting calls on pending UFA netminder Chris Driedger, who was such a great story, as you remember, this year. But, of course, they've got a $10 million goalie in Sergei Bobrovsky and a future superstar in net, potentially, in first-round pick Spencer Knight, who got his feet wet this past year. So there's no room for Chris Driedger. He is not staying in Florida. So teams are calling and saying, what would it take, you know, to get his rights off your hands now so we can sort of jump the UFA market? There's a lot of interest in Chris Driedger. Here's the complication. Maybe Florida does that. On the other hand, there's the potential of Seattle perhaps having interest in Chris Driedger. And so does Florida actually sit back and let Seattle take him in the expansion draft, which means they don't lose anyone else to Seattle. So a lot to ponder for Florida here when it comes to pending UFA netminder Chris Driedger.
And Driedger should certainly help wherever he lands up. Among goalies with at least 20 starts this year, he finished 5th in both save percentage and goals against average.